And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. Brrr, new episode every single Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Real Verse World, and this is episode 22. On today's interview, we have Daniel Prokopchek, personal photographer for the most talented guitar player and performers on earth, John fucking Mayer. Daniel literally just got off tour. This entire past year, he's been on tour with John and has quite the story on how he got this opportunity to travel all over the world. Daniel started at the bottom and worked his way up the ladder by having consistent hustle and investing all of his energy into what he's doing. His editorial photography skills are next level, which is a hard skill to master. This dude is a beast. If you have a desire to make it in whatever your career choice is, Daniel's story should have no problem motivating you to get up off your ass and fuck shit up. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering, what does Black with No Cream stand for? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We are a private group on Facebook open to creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you're a photographer, if you do marketing, management, editing, dancing, etc., 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 all creators are welcome. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our group if you want to by going to BWNC.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. If you're interested in supporting Black with No Cream, just go to BWNC.com/merch. We have hats and stickers and pins and all that shit's available there. I appreciate anyone who picks up the merch. And if you don't got merch money and all that shit, just go share the podcast with people. Just share it with people. Subscribe, share. I appreciate you. All right, that's it. I'll keep this short. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in to every single Sunday for a new Black with No Cream podcast episode. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Daniel and the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time,
you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. All right, we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. Daniel Prokopchek.
You got it.
Is that how it is?
That's it.
Prokopchek.
That's it. Prokopchek.
God damn. Everyone, it's like a running joke in this Black with No Cream community that every time everyone ever asks a question, I botch last names. Last names are very hard.
This is a tough one.
Daniel's easy to remember. That's a layup.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got Daniel in the building. Amazing photographer. You are fucking a beast, dog. I've been following your shit.
Thanks, man.
I don't know when we connected. It was through Instagram.
It's been a while. I think
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 years.
I've been following your account for a long fucking time, and you've just been like murdering shit. And I thought it was important. When I started this podcast, I had like a hit list, and I have just Daniel on there. So it's just
Makes
that,
it easy.
Which I also put in the group that you have the fucking Instagram account at Daniel, which I'm like, all right.
It helps.
Who the fuck gave him that shit? But you guys, I talk about it in the intro of this podcast and like explain a lot of your credits. But just if you want to summarize like kind of your career in a nutshell, you're currently just finishing a tour with John Mayer.
Yep.
And prior to that, like what do you do? Teach
us. You know, I can start off with like going to college. The first thing I did, did business and graphic design. So I didn't do anything photography. I was doing video stuff and doing photo stuff on the side and really wasn't focused on it. It's funny. I played lacrosse in college and I ended up tearing my ACL. So between that, I was like, what do I do? I was playing lacrosse. I was like, I thought this was like the cool thing to do. And then tear my ACL. I'm like, now what? What's next? So I turned to photography and was like, this is what I want to do. I love music. How do I figure out what to do with this? Like, how do I go pursue music and photography? So funny enough, I watched the John Mayer Where the Light Is DVD. And the director, this guy, Danny Clinch, who's probably one of the most famous, rock and roll photographers. He shot Tupac, Nas, all the early hip hop guys, and then now does like Bruce Springsteen and Neil Young and Willie Nelson and all these guys. He directed it. And I was like, this is incredible. I want to know how that guy got to that point. So I looked him up, tried to figure out like what his path was. His photography was incredible. and I emailed them for an internship. I was like, hey, I'm new to photography. I've done video before. Do you have open internships? And they got back to me. I showed up in a full suit in a photo studio, and they're like, cool, great, you're hired.
Wait, what the fuck? Okay, so hold up. So you basically just found, you're talking, you emailed John Mayer's camp, or you emailed the photographer?
The photographer, Danny Clinch's camp.
Danny Clinch. So what, you just found his website, email, and
found his website, emailed the studio head or studio manager, and she was like, come in, had an interview, and that was it.
You pulled up in a suit?
I pulled up in a suit. I was like all fancy because I was like business school style. I'm like, I'm in like I try to have my best suit on, for an interview. And they were like, kind of laughed at me at first. Yeah. But I was serious. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. Right. So basically I did that internship, loved it. I met someone who was his producer, Carrie Bornstein, and she helped me. She hired me as a PA for things. I was hired on like music videos, commercials, kids commercials, like stupid stuff.
And this is all stuff that Danny's directing, right?
Some of
or is it his production company?
It's not his production company. He was doing a lot of music videos, and I would be on that as like a PA or like a fourth camera assistant kind of thing. Because she like took a liking to me. She's like, oh, you're a great hard worker. You should just try doing this. So she would hire me outside of Danny and do other stuff. And, you kind of learn the business. I was on set with like Steven Meisel. I was on set with Albert Watson, and I got to see some like really amazing photographers work.
Which city? This is in New York?
This is in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Because you're originally from New Jersey?
I'm from Jersey, yeah.
And then, so you were in New York for college?
In Hoboken for college.
Where the fuck
Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay. Well, gotcha.
And then I was, working in the city. So this was in college, and, I was doing college and working on the side and doing as much as I could after the, kind of my lacrosse career was over. So started doing that, and I didn't know after the internship was over, I was like, what do I do next? I got connected with Rolling Stone.
What the fuck is happening? He's just like, emailed the guy and he let me come on,
it's
and then Rolling Stone. What the fuck?
How it all worked. So I was like, what do I do next? I don't know. I'm not an established photographer. I can't just like show up and be like, I can take pictures now.
Right.
And so this was like right after the internship. I got an internship at Rolling Stone. So they were like, we don't really take on like non-photo school people. They're like, we don't really but you seem cool. You seem like you got your stuff together, and let's try it out. So I was an intern as a photo editor. So I would like go in, look up photos, do photo research, find some stuff, and maintain a relationship with the guys. Still work there, like Sasha Lecca, Griffin Lotz. They were just awesome to me, and they were super cool.
What do you mean? When you say you're like a photo editor, in my mind, I'm thinking I take photos, you edit my photos. That's how it works.
That's what I thought it was first.
Yeah. So break that down. What is that?
It's basically, these photo editors. You've got Sasha, who's the deputy photo editor. You've got Griffin, who's the associate photo editor, and they hire photographers for shoots. They pick the photos for the magazine. They pick they go through the photographer selects, and they pick exactly what they want. And that's what they do. So they find the photographers to hire for the magazine.
Oh, so you're on the prowl, like looking for talent.
Right. So that's what they're always looking for, new photographers. They're always looking for stuff, and that's kind of, I wasn't really sure what it meant either, to be honest, because I was new. I had no idea.
And this was a job or an internship?
This was an internship, and then it turned into like a freelance job.
Right.
So I started doing that a little bit, and then Danny ended up emailing me back randomly out of nowhere. He's like, hey, I see like you were like at Rolling Stone, like how's everything going, blah, blah, blah. And I've always wanted to be his assistant. I wanted to learn exactly what he does all the time. As like a fourth assistant, you kind of don't really know what you're doing. You're just kind of like there, and like guys like, oh, go put that light up, put that C-stand up.
Yeah.
Like not knowing how to shape light or how to do light. So I went in to him and I was like, hey, like I could help you out with your social media. I can help you out with your website. I can help you out with all this stuff. He's like, cool, you're hired. Come in, do some stuff for me. It's like, okay. So I'm there.
He happened to hit you up randomly.
Randomly, just seeing how I was.
And what was your relationship like with him when you were doing the internship? Was it like pretty strong? Like you guys
it's a little separate. Like I was more tight with the studio manager, Lisa.
Yeah.
She kind of, she took care of me. Mm-hmm. She always had, and she was just incredible. And I was, a little separated from Danny. I didn't really, I was the intern fourth assistant kind of guy. Like I wasn't involved.
But how the fuck why would he randomly just hate you then?
I don't know. I think I remember I had emailed him, and then 2 months later, like it must have been
he just finally got around to it or something.
Finally was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And like us Jersey guys, we kind of stick together. He's from Jersey too. So like kind of like, oh, you're a Jersey guy. So,
did you do anything specific? Like I'm just trying to provide like good solid advice for these creators. But like in your internship, do you recall ever doing anything that would have left a good mark on your name to him? Like, obviously always being on time or things like that, or did you ever say anything like, hey man, this was like, did you leave on a good note with him in a way that could ever settle with him and maybe it just like clicked? Or
I think not initially.
Yeah.
I would say I actually left more of an impression on Carrie, who was the producer. That's why she started hiring me for things that were paid gigs and good money.
Yeah.
He really wasn't, it's not a bad thing. He just wasn't really paying attention to what interns were doing.
Yeah.
He didn't have to.
No, for sure.
But I was like, as an intern, I was logging footage for documentaries that he was doing, like a Ryan Adams documentary, which was awesome.
Crazy.
I sat and looked at footage, which was super cool.
That's
and like,
dope.
I went to him and be like, oh, this is a cool shot. He's like, yeah, but we can't put the documentary out. I'm like, so I went through all this footage for no reason.
Fuck.
So they don't actually, like, he's still sitting on it, and it's like an incredible, like, but
damn.
So that was like 8 years ago. Wow. I'm thinking about it now. It's like 2010.
Yeah.
8, 9 maybe. And I not really, like when I was interning, it really wasn't about him. It was about being in the studio and learning how the studio ran, which was, I think, just as valuable, like learning how to print and learning from his printer how to print stuff. And his assistant at the time was this guy, Gary Ashley, who's he's an amazing photographer now as well. He was kind of like teaching me how to do stuff,
right?
But not so much.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why I was constantly trying to reach out and like, I want to be an assistant so I can go, that was the traditional route of being a photographer. You assist a photographer, you go and start doing editorial gigs, you get an agent, you do commercial work.
Right.
That traditional route, which I thought was the way to go.
Yeah.
Before Instagram, before anything. So that was my idea and it stuck in my head. I was like, that's what I have to do. I have to keep doing this. So when he told me to come in, I was like, yeah, well, I can also assist and whatever. And it was funny because he was working on a book and someone who was printing for him had left. And the person that was working on his book moved into that position. And he was like, do you want to work on the book? I was like, sure. So I can go through every contact sheet of like Tupac, Nas, like, Redman, Old Dirty Bastard. I'm like, done.
These are all people that he shot.
All people he shot.
Fuck.
I was like, yes, I will do that. And then it slowly became like, there's an assistant gig that was super cheap that a real assistant didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Right.
Like, I remember like a Lenny Kravitz shoot for Rolling Stone was like $100 for me to assist. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, I would want to be on a shoot with one, Lenny Kravitz is awesome.
Yeah.
2, I want to learn.
Wow.
So I did it for free sometimes. Like I would like whatever I could to learn from him, I would do.
Yeah.
And I think he saw that and was like, I was working my ass off.
This is pre that random ass email.
After.
Okay,
Sorry.
this is after. Okay,
Sorry.
so this
After
is like
email.
these are kind of like the jobs that spawned from that.
Right. So from that email, like I went in, I actually brought him like a presentation and was like, I can do all this for you. And he was like, all right, cool. So I did the book, did that with him. I helped him grow his social media and helped him do like, different like print sales and different stuff. And it was incredible. It was like the best learning experience I could have ever learned. Fuck. And he like, honestly, between Carrie and Danny, like I would not be here at all. Like
crazy, right? For
sure. Like, and the fact that he just taught me everything, literally everything. We would like be in the studio, in his studio till midnight, 1 a.m, working on the book. And we would just hang out. We'd have a bottle of wine and chill. And it was super fun. And
is that book out?
The book is out. It's called Still Moving.
Still Moving?
Yeah.
All right, I'll see if I can make it.
I'm in the back. He thanks me. So that's always good.
That's dope. That's a good feeling, huh?
It was. And I didn't know. I still was new. Like I still was trying to figure out what I was doing.
But what an incredible feeling to like get plugged by your idol. You know
Right?
what I mean? Like, he's your idol, and you're learning from him first off. Because so let's step back.
Yeah, step
Before
back.
this happens, did you basically in college? You're saying they're doing graphic design, right?
Yeah. Business and graphic design.
So 2 majors? Were you majoring in? Is that 2 majors?
No, it's called art and technology, but
Okay.
it was like I had to do all business classes and I had to
damn.
do all graphic design classes,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really, I could do all that stuff, but I didn't want to do it. I didn't want
Right.
to sit in front of my computer all the time.
Right.
So
So while you're doing that, you're looking up to Danny as a creator.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just idolizing
I'm like, this
him.
guy is incredible. Seeing his Beastie Boys photos, seeing all these things, I'm like, this is amazing.
That came during that time, like while you're in school. You used
Right.
to really
I saw
tripped
all
on
that
him.
stuff.
What
And
was
like the first, he shot Kanye's first record. I'm like, what? He shot Kanye with the bear suit. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this
That's
is
so
like,
crazy.
this is the stuff I want to be doing.
That's amazing.
So that was what happened in college. I found him that way.
One random ass email.
Well, and it's funny how it all happened from John's DVD, which is so full circle. It's not even funny. Like,
It was you watching John's DVD, seeing that it was directed by him. You look him up, then
Yep.
you decide, oh fuck, he's got all kinds of amazing content. I love this
Yep.
person. Damn, that's really isn't that a trip to think about?
It's a trip. It is an absolute trip to think that like now, through Danny, like I wouldn't even have gone on tour. Like
Right.
it just wouldn't have happened because I had met John through Danny because Danny did all the Dead and Company stuff. So like he kind of knew who like my face and kind of was like, oh,
because
like,
you were just around during
yeah.
all the
But
shoots
if you
and
work
things.
with Danny, like you must be
Yeah,
decent,
legit.
or at least like you have to be good to like work with someone who's like that.
So like, what's the first time working with John then? Because you're watching the DVD as a fan, you go and do all this shit, then all of a sudden you see, or you're on set with John. Maybe you didn't work direct with him, but
Yeah, I
through
didn't
Danny.
at all, and it was just funny to be with like Bob Weir and like John Mayer, and you're just like, this is it's cool. It's
Crazy.
cool to be on set, but you like kind of like
You know your
you
place.
learn pretty quickly that everyone's just a regular person, and like
Yeah.
we're literally sitting there. It's funny. We were sitting there eating apple pie all together. Like Bob Weir just like turned and was like, "Hey, this is some really good apple pie, isn't it?" It's like it was. They're all like normal people.
Surreal.
And It
Yeah.
was so cool, and it was fun, and but between all of this stuff happening, I was trying to be a photographer. So with all of this, like, trying to make money, trying to do stuff, I was making fake passes. I was making,
Yep.
like, I went to NYU for a semester
Yeah.
to do photography, and I told publicists that I was working for the NYU, I was working for NYU's newspaper.
But you weren't.
I wasn't. No, I made fake passes, fake press passes. I was like,
To get into what?
to get into anything
Like-
I could get. I remember being backstage with Currency one time. I was like,
What the fuck?
I had
Just
no
from
idea.
A fake pass?
Just from a fake pass. And they were just like, oh, cool, yeah, come on, shoot.
So are
And I
you
was like,
hustling? Are you doing all this shit by yourself?
by myself, hustling? Like, I remember, it's funny because this is all kind of ties in. I was working at Rolling Stone, and they said I could say that I was shooting on spec for them.
Yeah.
And they would use stuff if they needed. But I was like, yeah, sure, I'll fly out to Rock the Bells in San Francisco and, go shoot some stuff.
On their
And
dime
then-
or your dime?
On my dime.
Wow.
I was like,
You just got an opportunity that you could at least get in
somewhere.
utilizing their
Yeah.
name somehow.
So I was PAing, making money, and I was like, what else do I do? I need to put this towards something. Like, rent's one thing, but
yeah.
what else do I need
invest
to
into your shit.
invest in myself? And that was it. And I actually met G-Eazy's photographer, Grady Brennan. I don't know if you know Grady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
who's-
I've never met him, but I know.
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, I follow shit.
He's just an awesome guy. And he actually we had met randomly in the pit, and he
At
was
Rock the Bells?
At Rock the Bells.
Okay.
So I'm in San Francisco, and I had rented a car, but I didn't have a place to stay. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out there. Maybe I'll find a hotel somewhere that's cheap.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I got a car, and then he was like, "Yo, I need to ride back. Like, do you want to just crash at my place?" I was like, "Sure, I'll drive you back." And he just let me crash on his couch. And
Right back to LA?
No, sorry, back to San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
So San Francisco, Rock the Bells was in Mountain View, which is by the Google.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
like a shoreline amphitheater.
Right,
it's like
right.
a 45-minute drive.
You just
So-
randomly met him in the pit, happened to
Randomly
be
met
talking
him.
about how you
Yeah.
didn't.
We're so random.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I had my Hasselblad with me, and he's like, "That's cool. Like, what are you shooting?" And all that kind of stuff. Like, it was so random.
Yeah.
And then this was before G actually broke, and I had met them and his management team and all that kind of stuff, and they were awesome. Like, I saw him with like 300 people in New York City. It was incredible, and like to hang out with Grady and like
Yeah.
meet those people, and after like those long-term relationships, pay off at the end. Like, especially, you don't think at the time, you're like, oh, like this guy's not going to like hire me. He's not going to do it. Like, he's not help me. Like, do I have to stay in touch with this person? But just like trust that like people are always looking for things.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how the John thing actually came about. Was G-Eazy's manager hit me up and was like, hey, like, can you go on tour? Which I thought was for G, and it was for John. And he was just like, I put up a bunch of photographers, blah, blah, blah. Can you do it? I was like, sure. And
did they have anything to do with like his management?
His manager knew Matt, and he asked Matt, and Matt was like, yeah, here's a list. Oh. And that was it.
Damn.
So whoever was available got it, basically. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And that's just how it really...
What the fuck?
Dude, it's a lot of timing and like so much grinding that I had to do before I could even like think about going. Like, I never would have thought that this would ever have happened. Like, this was such an opportunity that I just had to jump on.
Fuck. Were you with you're now engaged, right?
Yeah.
So
engaged.
At the time, were you with your fiance?
I was. This was like last year. So we've been together for three years. Damn. I've known her for 16 years, but that's a whole other story.
But then you're like, yo, I gotta go.
And she was like, this is a good start to your career. Go for it. Do it. And I went, and they actually only had me on for like 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
And then
so it was like a short run?
At first.
Yeah.
And like the first image, like the manager's just like, can you stay on the whole time? I was like, what's the whole time? Like, I have no idea what, like, I didn't know anything, like what tour was or what it was. And
oh my God, that's
he was just
so
like,
funny.
But I was shooting shows all the time, so I knew what to do.
Yeah, your concert photography was like on lock.
Yeah, but I didn't know what tour was about.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, I guess. So we did the first leg, and then we had a break, and then we did a Europe leg, break, and then another US leg, break, and then a Brazil leg, South America.
And
leg.
that was this has been like this entire year.
Yeah, it was all last year.
Holy shit.
So it came up, an opportunity came up, and I just pounced on it, and I think it didn't matter what it was, or like, I just needed to do something to pursue my own photography.
Right.
And it just so happened to be one of the best guitarists of our time. And like,
literally.
Yeah.
Fuck. That is so crazy.
It was kind of crazy.
But the way that loops together, like you having just seen a DVD, then to be a fan of Danny, who's created a documentary about John, right?
Yep.
And what was it, a tour doc?
It was a concert DVD. Which was incredible because it was a 3-part concert, which felt like 3 different acts. Yeah. So he did an acoustic set, and he brought a bunch of people out. He did a John Mayer trio set, and then did his like John Mayer set. Wow. So we did it was like a blues set and an acoustic set, and then like a pop, like another set. And you're just
all
in
one show?
All in one show. And Danny cut it in a way that felt like 3 different acts. And it was incredible. I was like, this is so genius. The camera movements are incredible. They had like 3 cranes, and like, Steve Jordan's one of the best drummers ever. Like, and to see him go crazy, like with these crane shots, it was just incredible.
Damn, yo.
And that was something I was like, that's the coolest, literally the coolest shit I've ever seen.
You literally go from one email. Everyone who's listening or watching this, take fucking note, because you just reached out and said something that was sincere. Do you still have that email? That'd be tight to pull up.
Oh, man.
You should frame that shit for sure.
I'm going to find out.
You should print that shit on your t-shirt.
I should. You're right.
Yeah, that's a merch, like right there. Like, hey guys, I wear suits and I like to take meetings.
Dude, it was so funny. Dude,
man.
I swear if I had this email, this is going to be hilarious.
This will be so clutch. But it's really crazy. You can keep looking for it while I talk. It's crazy to think like one email connects you with you're a super fan of this director at a time. Yeah. You get to fucking study underneath him and have him basically mentoring you for how many, like a year?
It was 4 years.
4 years? That lasted 4 years? So like
it was
on and off?
2013 to 2017, yeah. It was literally like, I hopped on tour in April, so it was April of last year. Damn. And that's when I like kind of made the move, and I'm going to find this email, but
yeah, please.
At some point, which is hilarious. I didn't even think about like finding that.
That's the shit that's funny to me. Like, I think when I got asked to go on tour with Schoolboy Q, like I'm pretty sure I remember them be like, hey, someone's gonna call you and talk to you about like what's gonna happen. And I like put my camera and I started like filming it. I know I have that file somewhere where they're like, hey, yeah, meet us here, whatever. Like we want you to go on tour somewhere. Where
That's
I was just like,
awesome.
that's such a
Like,
moment.
that's so awesome.
I even remember a moment flashing back. My friend Taylor, he got wounded in Afghanistan, and so when he was hurt, we had just such an outpour of like people wanting to help. I would run his social shit and his website and just try to help manage the emails and like wean out the garbage. And there was a lot of media requests. We ended up going on Today's Show and like flew out to New York and did all that whole shit. But I remember this was before Matt Lauer turned into who he is today.
Now, yeah.
But he like called and I remember like I answered the call and got to talk to him for a second, and then I like merged our call together so we could just talk with him. Yeah. And he like called and it was him talking to me, and I fucking filmed that too, because I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, Matt Lauer's calling me, like he's
you
so
have to
sick.
film that stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's so wild. But in that call, I remember being like, all right, cool. Like we had our conversation. I was like, all right, I'm gonna patch them in real quick. And he's like, all right, cool. And then I'm just sitting there waiting, and like I was like, this is really weird to be talking to you, Matt. And he's like, well, it's really weird to be talking to you too, man. I was like, cool.
Tight.
Cool. And then that was it. I was like, what a fucking legend. Like, that was so, and this shit's fucked up now. That video's trash.
Right.
But like, what a moment, man. But that's so cool to like.
That is crazy. You know, I need to start thinking about that stuff because I just don't. Like,
that's why I love this shit. Because it's like, it's forcing, this is cool because we've never met in real life.
Yeah.
This is our first time meeting, which is sick because I already can tell the way our paths are, is so similar. And I feel like that's why I wanted you on the show. I can already tell through social and what you talk about, how our conversations are, that you have a drive that's like innate in you from like the jump, it sounds like. And it's so fucking true to hear it. But like, what's the chances? Think about it, what's the chances that worked out, that you get the training that you got, you continue to work your ass off and take any job. You said yes to any job. And
anything with Danny, like anything.
Anything.
I was like, I'll drive down to your house and help you move your couch. I don't care.
You fucking forged photo passes and got into shows, flew on your own dime to the other side of the U.S.
Yep.
And happened to meet G-Eazy's photographer who linked you in. That is so...
It's insane. And I think like, you know, you try to like put all this effort into promoting yourself and doing stuff and like, you know, I mean, I was in like a shitty apartment for like 5 years. Like, no joke. Like that's just how it happened. And now it's, you know, it's a little bit different now, but you know, you just kind of grind along and like, it doesn't happen overnight. That is for sure. Yeah. It does not. And I think that's something that people think it just happens. No, like,
I think it's really easy to make it pop too. Like, and
now even right now, I'm still like trying to figure it out. Yeah. Like I'm still figuring shit out. Yeah. And that's even crazier to me. I'm like, oh, I like did all this cool shit, and now I'm like, what's next? Yeah. And I'm always constantly thinking, what is next? Right. So you know, after I literally left New York, moved to LA. When was that? Before tour? That was in between tour. When did your girl move here? She's been here for 8 years. Oh shit! So she's been here forever. Right, we did long distance for 3 years. Got it. I've known her since I was literally 15 years old. Yeah, crazy. And we met at my sister's wedding again, but that's whatever. I mean, you really want to tell a story? Yeah. Tell a story, bro. Be romantic. She's my sister's college roommate, so it's really funny. Wow. But you know, so I went on tour. I came back. I was like, I don't know. Like, what are we doing? Right. We have this lease in New York. Do I come to LA? She's like, I can't leave LA right now. And I'm like, well, I can leave New York. So let's go. And I packed my stuff and moved to LA. I literally had 2 weeks in between tours. So I moved to LA cross country. And then we went up to Yosemite. We got engaged. The drive? Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't do the drive. Oh, shit. Sorry. I did the drive to Yosemite, which kind of sucks too. Yeah. But no, that drive would... Dog, I drove from Iowa to here. That's halfway. And that shit rough. It's rough. Yeah. No, we flew and we paid people to move for us. Smart man. But you went up to Yosemite and got engaged? We got engaged in Yosemite, which was awesome. Yeah. Woke up at 5 a.m, made her take photos with me, and then we engaged. And then I was like on tour the next week. Damn. So we didn't really get to enjoy it. And, you know, that's kind of the tour life. You kind of like are always moving and doing stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. No. I loved it. Yeah. Which I was saying before, it's like a moving train. You're doing so much. You're city after city after city after city. You kind of forget what city you're in half the time. Yeah. You like sleep overnight and you're in another arena and you're showering at the arena, and then next night it's the same thing. Yeah. And then you jump off that train. I'm back in LA and I'm like, what do I do now? What's my next move? And for me, it's doing the portraiture stuff and getting in the studio. I just got a studio downtown. I'm renting out for the year, and I think that's really going to help me, be creative in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I love capturing the moment. I love finding moments and being there for moments, and that's half the battle, being there for that moment. But now it's like creating the moment and creating that comfortability with somebody and getting someone in a studio setting and making sure that that they're comfortable is all it's about.
So
and have your lighting down and all that kind of stuff.
Does that come from following and being mentored by Danny? Like he seemed to be like a jack of all trades in a sense and mastered it, right?
Yeah, I would say, his story, he assisted Annie Leibovitz. He assisted Stephen Meisel, Timothy White, all these amazing photographers. And then he actually went on tour with Blind Melon, which is really funny.
Wow.
And incredible. Like he got to see like Blind Melon like blow up basically.
Damn.
But then moved on and then, started doing it. Basically, I don't want to say exactly what I'm doing, but the same thing. He's like, you get off tour, you don't know what to do. What do I do? Find people to shoot with, shoot them and see what happens.
Yeah.
And he didn't get lucky. He worked his ass off. He did a lot of stuff. And the guy from third base was like, oh, I got this guy Nasty Nas. You want to shoot him? He's like, sure. What? Like he just shot whoever he could. And now Nas is the greatest lyricist
That's fucking
ever.
insane.
And he shot Illmatic. And it's like, so seeing how he worked and how he came up, and I don't want to say emulating it, but trying to figure out how he got to where he is that he worked his ass off and he shot whoever he could. He shot people that people didn't want to shoot, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm like, who are the people that are coming up, and who can I shoot? And try to find stuff on the side to shoot to make rent and whatever I can do. So,
but that's so dope that it's like there's almost like a subtle template available for you to follow as far as his life, and it worked out for him in the end. So why not follow in that journey? Plus, it's like you go on tour, and that type of photography is so different than studio work. And I'm sure were you doing a lot of studio stuff before you went with John?
With Danny, I was, helping him set up all the lights and doing all that stuff. And he did the Grammys every year, and we did like Bonnaroo every year. And he like kind of started the whole photo tent at festivals, and I was there for all that stuff. So I knew how, like, he was teaching me and mentoring me how to do all this stuff. And then now I'm just using it. And I think like, it's a different time now. Like he did it in the 90s, and it's a little bit different because, the film age and all that kind of stuff, digital age comes along, and, even just assisting now, people don't even do it.
Yeah.
Like some people just don't. They're like, well, why would I do that if I have 150,000 followers on Instagram? It's like, well, you do, but you've got to learn
how to do it.
So, and I think that's where I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I go do the traditional route, but also,
kind of merge the two together.
Merge the Instagram stuff together too. So
what a weird time, dude.
It is weird. And like, I have my Leica with me, and like him showing me how to use film and meter for film, and that was always helpful to me. And I didn't know that I'd be like out of nowhere, like I'd be like, oh, well, I have to meter for the shadows and like expose for this and that, and I'm like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah,
and it's just like a sponge that comes up, like that he was just talking in the back of my head, kind of thing.
Right?
Like, you're like, wait a second, is that my thought or was that Danny's thought?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Because I've never have been able to shoot on film. I've never had an opportunity to do it. It was all like me becoming a photographer. I literally kept telling people I wasn't a photographer for so long because I bought my DSLR for video. I was like, no, I make videos. And then they'd be like, hey, are you work this concert and shoot these photos? And I'm like, all right, cool. And then someone be like, hey, are you the photographer? I'm like, no, I'm a video guy. They're like, but you have a flash on your camera. I'm like, I'll make a video after I take this photo. Like that's what I do. And I just denied it for so long. I could have got so many gigs too, people asking for it, and I just always turned it down until I discovered like that the way that you can shoot a photo and the way you can capture moments and how to do it. And I just never got to fucking do it with film. And obviously it's not too late and I would love to do it, but I feel like you got such an upper hand by learning that because you understand the world so much better than anyone that has a DSLR, where I was literally like, okay, if I slide this over, that makes that darker. Okay, what if I do this? This picture looks like shit. What's happening,
But there's something to be said about that too, because some people can't see that stuff and can't understand how exposure works or how shutter speeds work, or the banding when you're shooting video if you go too high and stuff like that. Like, there's something to be said to learning that stuff too.
True.
And learning that way. We can all learn any way we can. And like, you had the means of like a camera and you did it, and I think that's badass as well.
Right.
You know, I just went a different hustle, like where you were like, I'm gonna learn this shit on myself. I was like, I want to find someone to learn from.
Yeah.
And I think it's super rare now. I don't think
rare.
anyone does it really. Like I kind of, it's weird.
I know it might
now.
be difficult for you because you were like major city, you know, in that era where it was a little bit easier to find these photographers. But what advice could you offer to someone that is in a smaller town? Like for me, I'm in Iowa. I have no one. There was no one shooting fucking film or photos or anything. Or like I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I do. And YouTube wasn't what it is. What advice would you give to someone that's trying to figure it out right now?
I would say there's a photographer that I met with, and I got his story. This guy Peter Yang. He's one of my favorite photographers. He does a lot of covers, magazine covers, and he shot Kendrick for Variety recently.
Oh, cool.
One with the snow on him.
Yeah, sick.
And he was like, you know, he was from a small town in Texas. He was like this Asian guy photographer who had no idea what he was doing, it seemed like. And he went to local magazines and was like, can I shoot stuff? They hired him to shoot stuff, and he started shooting covers. And once you start getting covers, then you can start sending your work out. And I think that's, you know, you try to find any way to get work, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be Q. It doesn't have to be John. It doesn't have to be someone. It just has to be something. And you have to find your style and find what you want to shoot and what you want to do. And I think you just start small. Yeah. Like, you got to start small. And that's what he did. And I was like, I respected the hell out of that because, you know, he went from like Texas Monthly to Rolling Stone. You're like, how did you do that? Yeah. And, you know, he just grinded along and like try to find any work he possibly could.
And it goes back to what you were talking about, like being able to say, okay, cool, if I make this fake photo pass, I can get into this shit and this is going to open up this door. And this, you really have to seize almost every moment.
Yeah. Hopefully knowing I don't get in trouble for all that stuff. But, you know,
no one gives a shit.
It's just funny how like you just gotta figure out your route and figure 100%. Out your path. And I think starting small is the way to go. Yeah. Like you have to. Yeah. You can't just decide that you're going to wake up and go shoot, you know, Bruce Springsteen. Right. It doesn't work that way.
True. You know? So let's go back to you get the opportunity and you're going to go on tour. Cool. So you get the hit. Hey, can you go? Yes. Yep. How long in between getting the message to being on the road was that for you? Did you have time?
Let's see. I was actually coming to LA with my buddies for like an LA trip because they'd never been. My fiance was out here and his manager was like, yo, come meet John. Like, we're doing a music video. Met him. And they literally, I think it was like 2 days later, or maybe, no, it was like a week later. I was at South by and shooting for Spotify. And then I got an email saying, like, are you ready to go? We're going in 2 weeks. So, I was like, sure.
Which year was this?
This was last year. So this was March 2017. Yeah.
Fuck.
And I was like, all right, 2 weeks. So I actually had to call Danny and we had these conversations. I was like full time with him.
Oh yeah. So you had to let him know.
Yeah. And it was hard because, you know, he's one of my best friends. Yeah. The guy, like we've literally, and it was just, you know, it was tough to move on from someone. And like initially I was just going to go. And then he's like, they want me on for the whole tour. And then like, he was bummed. We were both kind of bummed. And he was just like, you know what? You got to do you at some point. And I knew you weren't going to stay the rest of your life. So, you know, it happens. But, you know, we're still homies. I literally think I saw him like a week ago.
Oh, for real?
And yeah, he was out here shooting something. And we had dinner. And it's just nice to know that like he's in my corner. Yeah. And like, he's just a good dude. And
that's an incredible
he's awesome
relationship to have built.
And I think like, you know, he just really mentored me a lot of how to like handle people, how to speak to people, how to, you know, talk to art directors, how to talk to creative directors, how to talk to talent, how to be a good person without having to like, you know, yell at your assistants or anything like that.
Yeah,
He never, I mean, he's gotten stern with me. He's never yelled at me in front of people. He's never like, he would always bring me aside and say, hey, like, do it this way, don't do it this way, you'll mess something up. Right. Whatever. Load this camera this way or it'll jam. Load this whatever. So he always like took the time to teach me. And I think that was like for him to give back to me is incredible. Yeah. And like I can only like thank him a million times.
For sure.
So
fuck. So this is like You get that call. Did you have to acquire gear? I know a lot of people's questions are concerns. Actually, someone just talked about this in the group the other day, and they were saying like, hey, I live in Brazil, and buying shit over here, you get taxed so much that it almost makes you not buy shit because we can't afford it. And then it came down to like, how do you come up with your rate and for this shit so that I could make it make sense to buy this expensive lens that I have to pay all this extra money for tax onto it. So did you have to get gear yourself for that?
I had gear.
So
I
you're
had
all
my
set.
stuff. I was already like, when you're assisting, you ultimately have the goal of leaving and doing your own thing. And, I was making good money, and I was like, all right, I need to reinvest in getting. I literally, what I had my 5D Mark IV. Because I was doing video for him too. I had like a mic, like a Rode mic, cheap Rode mic, and then I had.
My brother, sorry. My brother. So my brother, it's interesting because when you talked about playing lacrosse, my brother played football, tore his shoulder and his knee, and that forced him to retire out of that. And so now he's kind of in that in-between phase of like, fuck, what do I do? So he's been learning randomly. He's also going to school to become an officer, but he's learning how to do photo shit. And video stuff now too, kind of. He's like very interested in it. So he's been watching tons of tutorials and stuff, but he was calling me today and he's like, hey, so dude, I cannot figure out how to vlog because my rod won't like pick it up right. I was like, your Rode? And he's like, yeah, whatever, the rod mic. I was like, the rod, how do you spell rod, Sean?
Spell it out.
He's like,
R-O-D.
fuck. Oh my God, I die when I heard that shit.
That's
anyway, go on. So you have your 5D Mark IV. Your rod
24
mic.
to 70, 70 to 200. That's all I had.
It's a good
I had a 50 too. I had the 51 too.
Yeah.
But actually that was a present for my fiance, so I didn't really.
Oh no.
For like my birthday a while ago.
Yeah.
But, so that's all I had. I think. A couple cards. Had my Leica.
Did you run around? Film. Did you have both lenses on you at all times when you shoot?
All times.
Yeah.
I had to.
So what did you do? How do you hold it?
I had the Low Pro belt strap, so I just would lock it into my belt and like have it just hanging there.
Yeah, it was sick. It never broke or fell off.
I actually had one, and I'm gonna call them out. Porta-Brace, don't buy their stuff.
Really?
It literally, I was on stage and I had it strapped to my belt, and it literally fell off the seams, and my lens just fell on the stage. I literally thought I broke my 70 to 200. I was like, this is ridiculous. In front of all these people.
Oh my God.
And I hit them up and they didn't even hit me back.
Really?
Yeah, I was pissed.
Yo.
So, like, the Low Pro guys were cool.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, it's not going to break.
Dope.
And it didn't break.
I never ended up, I knew I needed one, but my problem was when I went on tour, I had my 5D Mark III and my A7S II, which I got the Metabones for the A7S II so I could still use all my Canon glass. So, the Metabones sucked so much for focus. Like I couldn't use it for autofocus at all. And I just hated shooting shows with it. So I would use that for video, and I would literally be running around with my 2 cameras, and that's how I was like bootstrapping it. Just like, I really wanted that to find a solution for just to be able to have a lens with me and have it just be one camera. But at the time I was just like,
it's tough, man. You gotta like pick your shots, pick your times. Like, and I actually rented an A7S for the tour? For the video stuff.
You
for
did?
The tour, yeah.
Did you like it?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I didn't like it for photo.
No.
And like I was trying to like, if I had like a video moment, I was like, I would get it and then try to take a photo without having to switch lenses. And I was like, this thing is not, it's really not a good photo camera for shows at least.
No, I think they basically pin you into a corner where you needed to have the A7S II and the A7R with you at all times if you want your photos.
And actual Sony lenses.
Yeah, Sony has to be.
Use those Canon lenses.
It's terrible.
So and now I have a 1DX, which I love.
Mark II?
The Mark II, super dope.
Let me play with that.
Please.
Dude, I think I need to buy one.
Please come. Like,
yes,
I just shot some stuff in the desert with it, video stuff, and like
it's amazing.
It was dope.
I got to shoot on it for like a second, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to. Would you say Canon then over everything? For an all-in solution.
I started in Canon and I just never switched.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to switch over to Nikon because why would I sell all my stuff and switch to Nikon? But, Leica's coming out with some good stuff. Their digital stuff is getting there.
Yeah.
Sony Video is just going to crush everybody.
I know.
We all know that.
But at the same token, it's like you have the 1DX Mark II, and that shit looks insane.
It crushes too, and I think...
And it shoots 4K and 60, which is like
does.
the biggest... Like, how the fuck does that not exist in every other DSLR yet?
Well, because it's like the Apple model. It's like you're going to buy the next thing anyway.
Yeah.
So
Lose
annoying.
weight. I know. Fucking crazy.
It's so annoying. If Canon's listening, come
Yeah,
on.
please, come on, dude. And sponsor this podcast.
Well,
God
and
damn
like-
it.
yeah, right?
Send me some shit.
And Sony, it's like, why did Sony have to do 2 separate cameras?
I don't know.
Just make one and make one expensive.
They did talk about the sensor, the way that you could shoot the 4K and such low light compatibility with the A7S. I remember there was something about the sensor had to be designed differently with the lower megapixels because I think the photos are like 12.
Yeah.
And the A7R2 is like 42 or
yeah.
52 or something.
Yeah.
Something obnoxious.
But if it's that big, I just
I don't
call
know.
bullshit on all that.
Yeah. Just make the camera bigger if it has to be bigger. Who
Yeah,
gives a
make
shit?
it bigger.
Make it work.
Make-
Fucking.
yeah. I was over it. I was whatever. But that's all I had.
That's
I
a
used
good
this
setup.
film camera. I shot a ton of film.
Editing on a Mac.
Editing on a Mac. I mean, I was using Premiere to edit stuff. I was using Capture One to edit my photos. I don't use Lightroom.
No?
I use Capture One. I just like it better.
I've never used it.
I like when the grain on it. They put like a better grain on the photos, and I think the output's better. The color's better. I think. And I use it for like tethering in my studio.
Word.
It's a lot faster.
Sure.
It's I don't want to say it's Lightroom is still incredible.
Yeah.
It's great, but I just prefer it.
Noted.
So
Okay, I should try that out. I haven't never used
I
it.
like it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's cool.
Damn. So let's go back. We're always gonna go back.
Yeah.
You go to you were in LA, then you go to South by Southwest, then you're back home.
I went from New York to South, or I went from New York to LA to South by to New York.
To
tour.
And tour started.
Albany.
So you were
The
close.
rehearsals close, yeah, and then it went
Does he
from.
he's in New York? Is that where he's based out of, or is he in LA? Or is that like a secret?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Damn, he has the state
Does his own
off the
thing.
grid.
Yeah, he does his
He's
own
probably
thing.
got mad cribs too. So it's.
I think everyone knows he's in Montana. He's not around here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone just told me that the other day.
Yeah, he's not around. I mean,
They're like, is he out in
comes
Montana?
around.
That's
He's in Montana.
my friend just came here from Montana yesterday, and I got to chill with him. And
Yeah.
it sounds. I need to go. Have you
Cool
been
place.
there?
No,
Really?
haven't been.
Dude, you should go out.
I've driven through Wyoming. I've never driven to Montana. I'm actually going to try. My buddy's from Montana. I have
Really?
a friend who's a really amazing drone operator, and
His name's John Mayer.
Yeah. Right?
He has a Phantom 4 and he loves it. And he's out shooting beautiful B-roll for
Oh my
stock
god, that'd be
footage
so
sites.
funny. No, my buddy Tanner, he's like the man. He's got a crazy story too. But
What's his Instagram handle?
Tanner Beret. I can never say his last names.
Yeah, check it out.
And he does a lot of like the recaps for EDM stuff.
Oh, cool.
And the Human Being guys are just like, they're my homies, and they like Human Being's a production company.
Okay.
And they're just super dope and awesome people. And he's from Montana.
Oh, sick.
And he's like, let's go do something. And I'm like trying to get a project together of like doing like dude ranch cowboy stuff out there in like the springtime. So we're trying to get
Sick.
it together. But that's personally funded. Like that's not something that we're gonna like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to put a video together. It's a portfolio piece. It's something that's a story I can tell.
Cool.
And it's always helpful to have those kind of pieces like in your portfolio to
Yeah.
have a story. Like, you can shoot a live photo, great. But you need to be able to tell a story through your photography. And I think that's
Absolutely.
really important.
Well, shit. Let me know if you need
Yeah.
fucking help with anything, obviously. Dude,
Dude, it'd be so fun.
We got to have a Montana member out
It'd be
there,
so
I'm
fun.
assuming. That
Yeah,
could
somewhere.
help out and shit. And come down for whatever.
Someone knows where some cool waterfalls are. or
For
something
sure.
like that.
So, yeah, you go to Albany, and what was? I mean, you met him on set one time, but I'm assuming it was probably just like, "Hey, I'm Daniel, and
Yeah.
bye."
Yeah.
Right?
And I think
Was it a memorable conversation, or was it
Not
just
really.
like quick? Like,
Yeah, it's just quick.
So then, when you go to Albany, is it what's your first day like? Because we can talk. Let's talk first days. What was that like for you?
first day was weird because I didn't know anything about anything.
That's what I'm saying. That was how it was
I
for me.
didn't know like what a junk bunk was. I didn't know what
Let's talk about a junk bunk.
junk bunk. That's
Yeah.
the bunk that no one sleeps in. That's where you throw all your shit.
You
And,
throw your shit. Did you have your own junk bunk?
no,
Oh,
no.
yeah, it was a
No.
community.
Yeah, it's community junk bunk. But like figuring out how a tour works and how it all like who's like not to step on like the guitar tech's toes, and like the legendary guitar tech that John has is like the man. Like he did Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he's like
Just a
the
beast.
G. And then like this other guy Alex, who does Lenny Kravitz and does John, and then all these guys we're doing so many cool other people too.
Yeah.
But I was on that bus with them, and they were like they're just like family.
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna say it
It's
becomes
like,
family, huh?
When you're with them for so long, they're just such good dudes.
Damn.
I like, and that's something you kind of miss when you're off tour. Like, man, I miss my homies, like hanging
Yeah.
out and like, just kicking it after having a beer. And
Yeah.
So it was weird. I remember like walking down in the hotel room and like having like a bus call and had no idea what bus I'm on or who I knew nobody, 0 people.
They didn't put you in touch with like the tour manager? or anything?
Nobody. I knew nobody. I
Fuck.
knew one person, and that was Brandon, and he was John's manager, and that was it.
Damn.
And he was there, and he helped me through it, and he's such a good dude. Like, he has only been helpful with all of like, just me transitioning and like doing stuff
Yeah.
on tour. Like, I had no idea, and like he helped me with that, and then he left, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm on my own. So I was
So
just
he was on the road the whole time? He just gets it
he's
started?
Like, he just got it started, and like, yeah.
So did you, what I mean? Because I think it's important too for people to understand how to like move with an artist. Like, you get on the road and you don't know this dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you become the most personal person to capture his moments or whatever. So how did you go about working your way in? Like, I know a lot of times when I go on set and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm going to shoot this person. I like walk up to him like, hey, let me know if I'm annoying. Like, what do you want me, if you don't want me to shoot this shit? And I did that with Q too. I remember doing it, but he's just like, I don't care. I was like,
just do whatever you
okay.
want.
I was like, sweet. What'd you do to like approach it?
Well, from working with Danny, I was around so many big people, like being at Bruce Springsteen's house. You're like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
how did I get here? 2, how do I act? What do I do?
Right.
And like, it kind of like, I think the very first job I had with Danny was at Bonnaroo. And we went down in 2010, and it was like Jay-Z, Kings of Leon, all these people, and he was shooting all these people, and that was the first time I ever got starstruck, and I saw Jay-Z, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. And then from then on, I wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Because like you learn right away that you can't be like that.
And they're normal as fuck.
They're normal people.
Yeah.
And you just talk to them and just shoot the shit with them and hang out, and like, that's just how it was,
Right.
Just say what's up, and if there's a problem, you'll know.
Yeah, for sure.
When there's not, you just won't hear anything.
Yeah.
So when you're doing whatever, and if there's an issue, like, you'll know.
Did anyone ever tell you the rule of how to sleep on the bunk?
No.
You don't know this?
No.
There's like a direction that you're supposed to lay. I mean, it's kind of like obvious when you get into your bunk, but like you're supposed to sleep with your feet facing the front of the bus in case they had to slam on the brakes or they hit something.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Dude.
I had no idea.
Super crucial rule. Exclusive right here. You're supposed to, like, that was one my friend toured with Sublime, and he's like their road manager and shit. And so when I got offered I'm like, dude, what do you do on tour? What do I bring? What clothes do I bring and shit? Like, how can I pack a suitcase or is that too much or whatever? And he like gave me the rundown, like have shower sandals. He's like have, I don't remember all the other shit, but it was like, don't sleep with your head because people have gone to the hospital for that shit.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, you don't even think about these things.
No.
What was your bus like? So what was it like being in that bus?
It took me like a week to figure out how to sleep on it.
Yeah.
I had to take Dramamine every day because like I get motion sickness. So I'm like, this is like, I literally every night I'm like popping that and like.
That continued or did you ever get better?
It got better.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's like whatever.
Could you shit on the bus?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's a big no.
Big fine for that one. I know. Damn, I've had some close calls.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to
when you're
that.
drinking kombucha and you're like, oh no, like
We'll go straight
for the
through you.
first time I had kombucha, it was like literally before we were on a long bus ride, and I was like, oh no, like.
Dog,
Like sprinting to.
this is like
the
a
venue.
very serious thing because like I remember not thinking about that, and they're like, the bus driver's like, hey, no shits on the bus, otherwise you got to pay me like $500 if you shit. I'm like, damn, for real? And then I was on the production bus, and one of the guys was like, yeah, you definitely don't want to shit on the bus, and there's a couple workarounds. You could take this bag, you could put a bag on the actual toilet, shit in there, and you have to throw it out the window. And I'm like, damn, for real? And I'm in the artist bus, so I'm like, I'm not gonna throw a bag of shit out
No
the
way
window.
I'm
Like
doing
they're gonna
that.
fucking light me up on Snapchat
Yeah.
and shit. And then he's like, one time I didn't have a bag, and I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, I had to shit in a Pringle can. And he's like, but it was the short Pringle can. I was like, oh, fuck. And then from then on, I was terrified. At the end of every show, we're in the showers and shit. I'm like trying to take a shit because I'm like so scared that it's going to happen over the next 9-hour drive. I'm like,
so
fuck.
true. That's so funny.
Oh, man, terrible. But so, I mean, the tour, what was like the highlights of tour like for you? What, what do you remember?
I mean, being able to like go to Europe and like, have a couple days off and see stuff and like.
Was that easy to do?
Going to Brazil.
As far as
no.
like getting away from John, or did you have to stay close to the hip?
No, I didn't have to. I was just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
If there was a call, I'd be there. But
Sure.
most of the time, it was just we got to roam around and do whatever we want, and like I got to just roam around with my camera and just hang out in Copenhagen and London and Amsterdam and Herning, Denmark, where no one would know where that is.
Yeah.
And even Brazil, it's like going to Rio and going to
So crazy.
Sao Paulo and Curitiba and all these cool places. It's just something I would never have thought I would go to at all.
Damn.
And then, you're there and like I'm a guy who can't sit around. I don't even care if I don't sleep. I'm running around doing whatever I can to see stuff because that's what
Yeah.
I'm like wired to do that. Like I'd rather not sleep and go see things, and I'll literally sleep when I'm dead. Like to be honest,
I'm
I'm
with
like,
it. So were you like becoming friends with people on the road that would go with you for certain things, or was it just kind of
sometimes
like solo dolo?
Yeah, there's like some video guys that I would hang out with, and like some of the sound guys that I became friends with, and some of those guys, a lot of them just sleep on their off days because this is what they do all the time.
Yeah, man.
They don't care. They're just like, I'm gonna sleep on my off day because I need to sleep, and you can do whatever you want. I was like, all right, because my schedule is a little bit different than those guys. Those guys are loading in at 7 a.m. and they're done at like 2 a.m. and then they have to wait. It is a grind, and those guys work their asses off.
For sure. What was your day-to-day like schedule?
I mean, really, I wasn't really starting doing anything till like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, depending on sound check.
What time are the shows usually? Like doors open?
7:30.
And he would go on. Was it him headlining and there was openers?
There was openers. So Laney was the first first opener, and then there was, who are awesome by the way. The record company was one. What's the other band?
He had 3 openers?
No. These were like throughout.
Randomly.
Right,
Yeah.
Throughout. So Laney started, and then the record company did the other side, and then like some European bands did the ones in there. I can't remember their name. So they had an opener. It was cool.
Tight.
It was fun. But those are the guys like, you want to try to be friends with those guys because you don't know. Laney's blowing up right now.
Yeah,
those guys are awesome.
Did you build good relationships with them?
Yeah, they're super cool.
Would you shoot them ever or not really?
I mean, if I had a chance to, I would.
Yeah.
Because like if I could do a photo shoot with them, I would in a heartbeat because they're awesome dudes. But yeah, they're just great, and their photographer's great.
So sick.
But that's you never know what those guys are gonna do.
Yeah.
A lot of like some of those people could just blow up completely. So
how big were the shows?
big.
Like,
So they sold out.
where is he playing?
Arenas.
It
Yeah.
was all arenas.
Forum.
Huge.
MSG.
Yeah.
TD Garden.
So sick.
Yeah.
So what would be your go-to? I need to shoot from here and here and here. What would be like the top 3 positions or shots that you would try to get every night in an arena?
Behind the drum kit, so I can get the crowd and get the drums in. Love that shot. I would say I actually really liked from the side of the stage, like where the drum tech or where the guitar tech is.
Yeah.
Because they had like a light there, and I would kind of play with the light and like kind of mess around with it, and he would turn and like do stuff, and it was. I kind of figured out he'd turn one way all the time, and that's kind of like you kind of figure that out. And then I'd actually try to stay away from the pit, to be honest.
Everyone's got that shot.
It's just kind of under the nose, or up the nose kind of thing, and I was kind of over it. I would just try to go through the crowd and like actually kind of like stand in between, if there was an open seat, I'd go in an open seat and try to like shoot through people, shoot through hands, shoot through stuff. I love shooting through things.
Yeah.
Try to get something different. You kind of shoot the same thing every night, but you are always trying to find a creative way to do something different.
Right.
So, like getting reflections, getting the reflection of the drum kit, and him standing there and stuff like that.
Could you go on the stage at all? Were you allowed to
I
go
just
anywhere?
try to be as stealth and ninja-like as possible.
And you're like, oh fuck, my lens just fell.
Yeah, it was the worst. Hold on one second. Sorry.
No, you're good. You do what you gotta do. Actually, I'm gonna, because I know you got a dip. He's got a dinner to go to, and I appreciate your time. I just want to go through some of these Black Window Cream questions real quick.
Yeah.
You got to answer a call, or are you doing text?
I'm just texting real quick. But Go for one.
All right, let's see here. How the hell, this is from Taylor Grote. He says, ask him how the hell he got the @Daniel handle. Did you just fucking get lucky?
Oh, shit. Got lucky. No.
Swag.
You want another real story?
Yeah, you bought it?
No. Did not buy it.
Lucky again.
Absolutely not. I don't.
That's getting lucky then.
It's getting lucky. You know, my fiance is super cool.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me about her job.
She manages digital stars, creators, and she actually found the account and it was a dead account. So she hit up a couple people and they're like, yeah, sure, you can have it.
Fuck.
Switched the next day.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
Your fiance manages...
She's a badass. She's super...
Like YouTubers and all that stuff.
YouTubers, she hates the word influencer, so I don't want to say that. But they're creators. They're digital creators, and they're like people that are, have all these huge followings, and she manages them, and she kills it. She's a boss, and I would literally be nowhere without this girl. Like, no, she is everything to me. Yeah. I would be nowhere without her.
What's her name?
Lisa Filippelli.
Shout out to you, Lisa.
She's great.
Damn.
But yeah, that's how she figured it out for me.
Yeah, that's dope.
And I would consider that luck, but also,
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, it happens for sure. I mean,
sometimes that happens. She's my plug.
he also said, oh no, this is a question for me. I'll answer that in the text, dog. Dev Maddox says, how's the pay work when working with an artist directly, or did he have to give up a regular job to do it? We already talked about that. But also, if so, what was the decision-making process like? So I guess how would you go about, you don't have to say your number, but are you doing it per a day rate, a week rate, a month retainer?
We did a week rate, and
yeah, you just come up with whatever your salary is.
Whatever you want, whatever you think you're worth, you give to if not overshot it.
Yeah.
And if they decide that it's too high, then ask them what they're willing to pay me. And
right.
That's how I went about it. I was like, here's what I think. This is what I would value myself at, but I will take whatever you have in your budget and
make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say met in the middle, but we met pretty close.
Yeah. Dope. No, that's a good move. That's a good move.
Yeah. Always shoot higher. Don't worry about losing the job, because I think you have to value yourself. But don't be like the 20K a week person, because that's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. Maybe unless you're Danny, your mentor.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got a couple left. Colton Batcher. See, they're going to laugh at me saying this dude's name a lot. These photos are so tight. I shared a couple of your photos.
Nice.
He says, how does he get such an insane amount of color range and clarity in his photos? And when he is shooting in low light, does he use a flash, or how does he expose for photos in these conditions?
What photos did you post?
I posted one of you posted from the road. It was that one cool one in the canyon, and then there's the one with the reflection of I think you just posted it, of LA, and there's the palm trees. Yep. Then I have a couple other ones where it's John on stage, and I mean really you work with those lights.
So I didn't go with a flash at all.
I never use a flash.
I don't use flash.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not my style. I'd rather be shooting film, and I'd rather shoot it at low light and drag a shutter and have something cool happen, and then have a flash. For some reason, it's just not my vibe.
Right.
So up the ISO. That's all I did.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest. I would take down some of the grain on it and add my own style to it.
Sick.
Color is, it just depends on the photo. Which one you said, the canyon, the one in Stockholm?
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck it was.
Is it a big red?
It was
escalator.
No. It's I want to try to show this to you, but I also don't want to end the thing. You see that?
Oh,
that one. I just like it.
I mean, that was
just on the road.
That was in the Valley of Fire. We're just driving, and
I just took the picture.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even pull out that much, to be honest. I maybe pulled out the highlights up on the top, maybe if there's any clouds, but there's not really. But all this, I probably shot it at F8, F9.
Was this 5D? Was it the Mark IV?
Mark IV, yeah.
Fire! I need to get that. Damn, I need to get so many cameras.
I think I had the 24 to 70 on that.
Are you gonna use the Mark IV more than you using the 1DX?
No, I use the 1DX.
Yeah. So bye to the.
I use it. I mean, I only used that because I was traveling and I didn't feel like lugging it around because it was just for a one-time thing.
Right.
But I will not ever shoot anything without that 1DX. The thing is incredible.
Damn,
it's incredible.
Dude, I need to get that. All right. Final questions.
Yeah.
He said he wants to know How does one become a personal photographer for an established artist? And when does it say,
Relationships.
Relationships. Andrew says sick. Oliver Gordon says, what is the one thing he learned from John Mayer? Have you learned any advice from John?
I don't even know.
It's a tough question, huh?
I wouldn't say he gave me advice specifically, but like I would say just the way that they, handled their crew and treated people right. And, if there was ever like an issue, they handle it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think being a good person is, something, not just him, but the whole team.
For
like
sure.
They were always taking care of the crew. They're always taking care of people. And I can never say enough nice things about all those people. And I think that is a lesson to be learned in itself. Like, you can be, an artist who's whatever, some of them artists can be a pain, and we all know how that ends up. Like now you just want to, I don't know, just being a nice person, to be honest. And I think that's kind of, I wouldn't say giving me advice, but that's something you kind of pick up. Like he's super good to people, and he respects art and respects photography and respected me. And I think that's
the process.
I think that's cool.
Perfect. Fuck. All right. Well, I know you're fucking hella late to your dinner. I'm sorry.
I'm starving.
I bet you are. No, I know. I'm sorry. All right. If people made it this far, I always let you pick. Do you have Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
I am. I don't use it very often.
All
I
right.
need to start using Twitter.
Let's just say this.
It's at my last name, so don't even try to say it.
No, fuck that. Just do. He doesn't have the Twitter plug. Couldn't.
No, I don't. I don't.
You.
At Daniel is the founder of Twitter.
Oh shit.
So couldn't get that.
Yeah, you definitely can't get that. All right, then this is what I usually do, because I'm always saying, like, you get to pick, like, a hashtag that people, if they listen to it this long, then they'll hashtag at us. But I would just say you should tag me and Daniel's like on his Instagram post and use this hashtag, and you get to choose what are the hashtags.
Hashtag. Oh, jeez. I have to choose the hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Shit in the bus. It could be. I'm just kidding. Anything you want it to be, it don't matter.
Let's say oh my God, I can't even think. Hashtag Daniel. Oh no.
Anything you want.
Anything
just
I want.
So they know.
Hashtag Daniel X Leica. Do that.
X Leica?
X Leica.
Okay,
X cool. Daniel X Leica.
You got a sponsorship or something?
No, I just love their cameras.
Shout out
They're
to
awesome
them.
people.
Yeah, sick.
I mean, it's
Yeah, no, I've heard incredible
and
things.
I'm just sitting here looking at it. So
we're just both looking at this Leica camera. Yeah. All right, dope. I appreciate it. If I'll plug all your socials and shit in the things, but if you want anything else, what do you want them to hear?
I would just say keep going. Just keep grinding. It will pay off. I promise.
Damn.
I promise. The shit will pay off.
Dog, appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally fucking met.
Yeah, man. Same.
All right, we out of here. Bye. That's it for episode 22 with Daniel per Crap Check. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow Daniel on Instagram. You can see all of his fucking work. It's amazing. I've shared links to that in the show notes, which you can find at blackwindowcream.com/podcast. Leave a review on iTunes and let me know what you loved about this interview. If you're interested in joining the private group of creators, go to bwnc.com/join. It's easy. Fill out the form. You'll be in the group in no time. And last but not least, buy some fucking ill-ass merch. Every single sale helps me keep this thing alive. Subscribe to Black Window Cream on YouTube and iTunes and all that bullshit. And yeah, new episode every single Sunday. See you next week. You bitch.